based on the previous videos. Let's now take a closer look at the feeling of anger. So again, we have the overarching concept of anger along with a physical sensation that can vary greatly from person to person. For example, it might be a dull, queasy feeling in the stomach combined with a rapid heartbeat and perhaps an inner rise of an inner heat. It's likely a highly activating bodily sensation. Like the body is put into a state of alarm. And beneath it, there is an underlying need. Often that need has to do with having experienced something that we perceive as unjust. Someone has wronged us, and our need is for that wrong to be made right. Or, for example, for the person to apologize. So, in a relationship, one person accuses the other of never taking out the trash. But since over the years the other person has taken out the trash at least once and now feels falsely accused, the person notices the physical reaction connected to their need for fairness to be restored and demand that the statement "never takes out the trash" be corrected. What follows is something we all probably know: an endless, futile discussion about who took out the trash, how many times, or didn't. And to make matters more complicated, the first person also feels unfairly treated because in their own view, the first person always have to take out the trash and the other person never does. And since anger is such a strongly activating emotion, one that our prehistoric brain once needed to defend itself or flee from danger, when it was literally a matter of life and death. When anger becomes intense, the first thing that shuts down is reason, our rational thinking. And since anger is such a strongly activating emotion, one that our prehistoric brain once needed to defend itself or flee from danger when it was literally a matter of life and death. So when anger becomes intense, the first thing that shuts down is reason or rational thinking. Prehistoric humans who, when faced with an attacker coming at them with an axe, try to stay calm and have a rational discussion, they probably didn't survive. So, both people slip into fight or flight mode. And yes, almost if their lives dependent on it. At that point, it's no longer about finding a solution, but about pure survival, which today translates into being right or getting justice or having a perceived injustice corrected. Our brain shuts down rational thinking and operates in much more simplified way. One time taking out the trash becomes never, while in the other person's brain 2 times becomes often. At the same time, the brain focuses our attention only on the situations that support our perspective, our experience of injustice. Yeah, this is what we call selective perception. In this state of anger, it eventually stops being about finding a solution altogether. Instead, it becomes about having one's need for repair or apology fulfilled. About being right. And usually, both sides can quickly tell from the volume or tension in the discussion that this need will not be met there, here and now. So why keep arguing? You could say that the moment we start getting angry and try to bring something up or discuss it in that state, it's not really about finding a solution or even about meeting the underlying need. Yeah? Rather, it may simply be about dealing with the feeling of anger itself. This intense, uncomfortable physical sensation. In psychology, we call this regulation, regulating our emotions. Ideally, in a way that is appropriate and tolerable for others, but that's often difficult when it comes to anger. Which is why many people in line with our prehistoric brain immediately switch to defense or counterattack when they feel attacked. Yeah, in other words, they fight. Because at least that helps to discharge the body's energy. It actually reduces the intense physical sensations. The racing heart, the pressure in the chest, the feeling in the stomach, by burning them off by fighting, which in today's world often means endless arguing. Yeah, and that's what it's about. When we bring something up out of anger, it's not about solutions. At a certain point, it's not even about getting our need for repair met anymore. It's simply about fighting. In modern terms, arguing endlessly until the anger, this intense, uncomfortable physical state subsides. And it will subside eventually. It would in fact fade on its own because the body cannot sustain such a high level of tension for very long unless we reinforce the anger. For example, with thoughts like I'm always a fool, I'm always the one who has to give in. And those thoughts may be even true, but the more we intensify the feeling of anger with additional unhelpful thoughts, the harder it becomes to handle it, to regulate it. And in the end, we are not doing ourselves any favor, any favors by fueling our anger with more thoughts.